guys, and welcome back to part 2 of the mini crawler course build. So everything is dried solid and is now in place, so we can start on the next section. So I'll just swing you around and we can have a look at where we're at. So as you can see, all the expanding foam is now dried hard. It's a little bit soft, but by the time we put the material on top, it will be it'll go rock hard anyway. So, and then these bits have all remained in place. I need to put a bit of tape on this section here to hold that down, but apart from that, we're all good. So first things first is I need to cut all the way down there to split that off, and then I just need to move one section out, put something underneath this to stop any drips from the cement going anywhere, and then yeah, we can go from there. Okay, so I've got my trusty pad saw, so I'm going to cut down there and we'll see how we get on. So there we go, I've managed to split it. So now we'll just cut away some of these excess bits and we'll see how we get on. A bit worried about that section there, but we might be able to do something with that. So yeah, see how we get on. Right, so that bit was nice and simple. So as you can see, we've cut it straight down the middle, so we've got two separate pads again, and like I've always said, with your offcuts, keep hold of them because they always come in handy. So anything I've sort of sliced off here off the expanding foam to make a road, I've put in here now, so it's just built that section up a bit more. And yeah, I think we're ready for ready to start putting the top sheeting on now. So I'm going to put this section on the floor down here. Like I say, I'm going to get some cardboard out to clean up some of this mess. Maybe just try and set some of these sections in place, and then we'll start with this section so I can finish off edging off that old section first. And then yeah, we'll go from there. And as always, a nice little shout out to our sponsor, our little mascot, Jasper. He's been chewing his cardboard box, loving life on top of the toolbox, haven't you? Come here, Jet. Come on. Good boy. Want your box back? Yeah, okay. Right then guys, time for the messy part. So we have a bucket, cement, some water, some cloths. So these are just old bed sheets I got lying around which I use for painting. A smaller bucket to mix like a paste upper, and then some brushes and scraper and stuff like that. And then I've just put some cardboard down just to catch anything that falls off. Like I say, this does get really messy, so I wouldn't suggest doing it in your house. And wear gloves as well, because yeah, cement, chemicals, all that jazz. So don't want anybody getting any coming out in any rashes or anything. So I'll put you on the tripod anyway, and I'm going to mix up the first batch. I never put a lot in, I only put a little bit in at a time and just mix it up. You want like a thin gravy type texture so it absorbs up into the sheets, but I'll show you that anyway. All right. Right, so let me see if I can get you over here a bit so you can see what I've done. So we've got like a gravy type consistency, so we'll leave that in there, and then we'll cut up some sheets, and I'm going to start on the old section first, and then we'll go from there. That was terrible filming on my part, but it is what it is. Get a sheet and cut off what we need. On that section as well. Let's put that little bit up there. We don't want that bit on. Right, so we need a brush as well. So if I don't drop it, we need a brush as well. And then basically we're just going to chuck that in the bucket. And we're going to absolutely soak it in this, what we've made in here. So again, this is where you need to wear gloves. And pull the sheet out and it'll look something like that. You can sweep the dreads off it. But yeah. This is why you get cake too. Alright, and then we're just going to place this where we want it. Put it on top of there, like so. And it should just sort of fall and stick into place really, which it kind of has to. And don't worry about the joins and stuff like that, because you're going to go over it with a thicker paste later on anyway. Just wedge it all in, smooth it all out a bit. This is where the brush comes in handy. You use the brush just to dab it down a bit in places. Like I say, you don't have to do this in one hit. You can use a big sheet if you wanted to, or do it however you wish. I just prefer to use the little sheets, it's a little less messy. Yeah, it just makes life a bit easier. And then, yeah, if you need an extra bit, just get it on your brush, just paint it on. So now I'll get them edges on flat. Like I say, it's just there to make a texture. We will go over it anyway with a thicker paste, so which will help hold it all in place. Make sure you got it all in them grooves. You can fold it up a bit if you want to move things around a bit, dig it into holes. And yeah, that is pretty much it. And don't expect to be able to use this brush after you've finished either, because you got no chance. Alright, next section. so now we've covered that all with what we need to, the sheeting and stuff like that. What I'm going to do now is, I'll come down here a bit, I've mixed up another batch, and this time it's a bit thicker, so it's like a thick yogurt. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get a brush and I'm just going to go over the whole thing with that, and it just adds a thicker coat to the top of it, and then it dries rock hard. It'll take about 24 to 48 hours to dry out. You want it to completely change colour. Usually goes like a light grey once it's all dried out and stuff like that. But yeah, so I'll crack on with this and then I'll show you at the end. Okay, so that is that first section complete. Like I say, covered the whole thing in it, and then put a big thick layer of the second coat over it. Like I said, that'll take about 24 to 48 hours to dry, depending on the conditions outside. I've redone this section as well, so that's where we covered it up earlier. As you can see, that section's drying out a lot quicker. So what it'll be is, because I've already done it once, it's just absorbing into it. So a tip I was told was, if you are doing that, or if you do the sheeting section, then you don't have time to do that second coat of like a paste, and you do leave it to dry out, just make sure you spray it or paint over it with a brush or something, like get it wet again basically before you start doing that second section, and then that way it won't absorb into it like that. Okay, so I'm going to leave that bit to dry out, and then I'll move it and I'll come back and do the second section later. As you can see, it does get messy because I've got it all over my face. And then yeah, once I've done that section, I'll bring it back in and then you can see the whole thing when it's done. And then part 3 will be painting, spray painting, whatever I decide to do anyway. Alright, cool. Okay, so we've now finished the second section. So it's all now covered up. Like I say, I'll leave it for, don't know, 24 to 48 hours to properly dry off, and then I'll come back and show you sort of what it looks like in the finished product. And then yeah, part 3 will be painting. So but now I'm really pleased with it. We've got some nice steps coming up down there, and then up there. Doesn't really do it justice in terms of an angle, but that is quite a steep angle. You know, I've put a winch point up top as well, so if you've got a winch on your truck you can use that, and then come back down this section, and then you can go either way you want really, and then take you back over there. So I'm really pleased with it. So I'll leave it there for now, and I'll see you in a couple of days for see what it's dried up like, and I'll push it all together and then give you a better idea. Now guys, so it's been 2 days and it's still kind of drying out, so I'm going to leave it for another day or two just to finish drying off, but it is rock solid, which is great news. So it just needs a bit of trimming down the edge so it closes these gaps up a bit, but they're not the end of the world. It's just the way it's been designed. So yeah, even the repair jobs I did up here, they've all gone rock hard as well now. So yeah, get some spray paint on there, a bit of sand and stuff like that. And yeah, join me for part 3 when we'll start decorating it. Alright, see you on the next one. Cheers guys.